think we can all agree that streaming has become a bit meh in the past few years. New features added behind a paywall, popular titles being taken off, and now they include adverts. I mean, we're actually expected to pay for the privilege of having adverts shown at us. I mean, what is this, broadcast TV or something? Unfortunately, it seems that streaming has become the very thing it has almost purported to be out to destroy. Another quite sums up this trend, quite like the phrase "enshittification." But I want to ask, obviously not all streaming services are the same, not all are built equally. So, which ones are actually good and which ones aren't? In order to look at this, I've decided to do the most YouTuber thing and do a tier list video. Now if you look at the bottom here are all the streaming services that I either subscribe to now or have used in the past. But the more astute among you may see, oh yeah, but where's Peacock, where's HBO Max? Well, I live in the UK, a place I affectionately call the land of the tea. So yeah, let's look at the starter, Netflix, the one that arguably started this, the streaming mania from companies. The patient zero, if you like. Now if you had to ask me 5 years ago, I would have put it up maybe B tier, maybe A tier. However, a few developments since then have occurred. First of all, the anti-password sharing, that started from Netflix, and despite majority of people not wanting it, it happened anyway because it's not about customer satisfaction, it's about money. And unfortunately, like every bad idea that makes companies a load of money, they catch on despite us not liking them. So I've got to knock this down. The other reason I have to knock it down is that despite the standard price of a HD package being $12.99, they do a packet with ads. So ethically, I can't put this above a C. And because of the lack of titles that they have, with things being pulled off, or the lack of season 3s that they give, that they just cap everything at season 2, I'm going to have to put Netflix into D tier. Next up we have Amazon Prime Video. Now, okay, yeah, you'll be able to use it if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. That works in its favour, and it does have quite a comprehensive list. The only issue is that there's quite a lot of titles on here that, yeah, you might think, oh, I'll get a Prime subscription in order to watch a load of stuff that I wouldn't be able to. But then there's a lot of things that are on buy and rent, which means you have to pay them even more money, which personally I'm not a fan of. I mean, yeah, you've got to think about the independent filmmakers. The only way that they can get the stuff on Prime is through that. That's a whole different kettle of fish, not going to get to here. But in terms of the viewer's perspective, I don't like it. And to be honest, a lot of the practices that Amazon do, I find unethical. So as well as capping it at C, I'm going to have to move it down to D tier. Next up, BBC iPlayer. Now, this is free at the point of delivery if you have a TV license, which, let's face it, is a diminishing number of you there. I started off as a catch-up thing, and just a catch-up thing where you could watch TV series that was aired on, say, I don't know, BBC Two, and would be available for 7 days. It used to be just that. It has since expanded to be more of a full-fledged streaming series. It still has the catch-up, and you can watch live TV as well, which I find pretty cool. Plus the advantage with it being BBC, there's no ads. But the disadvantage with it being BBC is that it's quite limited to the stuff that would air on BBC or the stuff they have a license to. So I'm going to put this at a solid B, C. I go with C. Like, a strong C, a weak B, in my opinion. Next up, Disney Plus. Now, with Disney, I have mixed feelings. I used a friend's account for password sharing, and I was going to watch the second season of Andor, but they started to crack down on the password sharing, and I don't want to give Disney any money. The last thing $1 billion corporation needs is any more money. So in order to not feed their gluttonous addiction to money, I have abstained from it. But when I have used it, it was a decent service. It had quite a few things I would have watched, and quite a lot of things I would have liked to have gone back to at some point. I think the issue with the platform comes from Disney itself. Disney are a creative vacuum, that they can't create anything original. Live action remakes of cartoon classics, more retellings. It's come on, please just give us something new. I mean, the only one I'm looking forward to is Tron Ares. And to be fair, it's been 15 years since the last film, so, I think I can let them off. But milking their franchises like Star Wars and Marvel just for every penny it's worth it's just cynical to me, and I think is a problem with large entertainment corporations as a whole. So I'm going to have to put it into D tier. Also, I forgot to mention ads. They have an ad tier, which, I couldn't get more than a C in my arbitrary rules. but it was in D anyway, so you know. Yeah. Next up, YouTube. If you're watching this, you probably use YouTube as well. YouTube being free at the point of delivery is, you know, absolutely great. I mean, yes, it pays with ads, but you know, I can live with that. And depending on the creator, a portion of that money goes directly to them. So not all the money is going to Google, it's also going to the independent creators, which is actually really, really great. Anyone can upload anything. That's absolutely fantastic. It's sort of like a democratization of media, essentially, which is like the best example I can see on the internet, and I absolutely find it's fantastic, and I really hope it doesn't go away anytime soon. I don't see that it will, but it's one of those mainstays from the old internet, which, considering the way things in the old internet have gone, I just hope this doesn't go the way of a lot of them. Then again, like, you know, billion-dollar corporation behind it, probably won't. Let's see. So with that, I'm going to have to put it into S tier. Next up, we've got Now TV. Now TV, if you're familiar with Sky TV in the UK, is essentially that. Like, a lot of the ones that are like Sky exclusives, like say how Game of Thrones was, how Westworld was, and all like the HBO stuff. Hence, we don't have HBO Max in the UK now, per se. But a lot of those tend to air on Now TV as an alternative to Sky TV, because Sky TV is actually quite expensive. It's got a decent selection, although, again, this does have an ad tier, so this can go no higher than a C. Although, from my admittedly ill-informed opinion, it's not plagued with things just being like offed from the platform every month. So, you know what, I'm going to put this into C tier. Next up, we have Plex. Now, this, I think, has the advantage over a lot of the other streaming ones because, A, it doesn't charge. I mean, yes, it has ads, but it's free at the point of delivery, and I think that is actually really, really good. And it does have a surprisingly diverse selection that you can use. One disadvantage, I'll say, is that you can search something, it will come up, you look at it, and it's like, oh yeah, sorry mate, we don't have it here. Then again, that's the way of a lot of the sites are, so you know what, I can't really brag on that too much. So, with Plex, I'm going to have to put you into A or B? A or B? I'll put you in A. I'm going to put you in A. All 4, or Channel 4, or like, whatever you call it. Very similar to the iPlayer. Like, you need a license in order to view it. The big downside with that is that it also shows ads, so it's like a worse version of iPlayer, essentially. You still get the live TV, but yeah, you get all your Channel 4 content, or like your More 4, your E4, your Film 4, but you also have ads. I would put this on here, but because it is not as good as BBC iPlayer, I'm going to have to put that into D tier. Next up, we have Apple TV. Now, Apple TV, like with the giants per se of the streaming world, is a rarity because it does not have an ad tier. I mean, give them a round of applause. That's probably not going to last, so this praise is going to be short-lived, I presume. But for now, they don't have an ad tier, and I fully respect that. Also, their loadout appears to be focused more on like the premium side of TV. You know, with all these brands trying to capitalise on franchises, Apple seems to be filling the gap of, yes, but what about streaming services if it made good stuff? Because let's be honest, like there's not a lot of those, are there? Although I did knock Amazon down because of their business practices that I found a bit unethical. So I'm going to have to knock it down to what I was going to give it anyway. So I'm going to have to give Apple TV a C tier. Next up, Tubi. Now, Tubi, again, is a lot like Plex. Free at the point of delivery, but shows you ads. Now, I honestly do not mind this at all, although I do find it to be a little less plentiful with the titles compared to Plex. I mean, maybe I'm wrong there, maybe that's just like what I found. But either way, I'm going to have to put Tubi into B tier. Next up, ITVX. Now, ITVX is much like the All4 or the BBC iPlayer, but it's more like All4 because it shows you ads. I'm not a fan of ads. Unless they're shown on one of my videos, then I like ads. If I benefit from something, that completely changes my ethical worldview on it. I kid. Hey, that's the thing. You're not being charged to watch this, that you're watching this out of your own volition. And you know what? If you are, thank you. maybe hit that subscribe button while you're here. Next up, Paramount Plus. Now, compared to others, there's less of a selection. Like, it's mainly the Star Trek stuff I've subscribed to it for, with it being sold as being like, oh, the home of all things Star Trek, while writing off Prodigy as a tax write-off. It's like, really? It's a mixture of all the Paramount, the CBS, the Showtime stuff, but it also has an ad tier, which I'm going to have to cap it at a C. Now, do I put it down to the others? Honestly, the tax write-off of Prodigy swings me to D tier for that. So, you've only got yourself to blame, Paramount. Next up, BritBox. Now, BritBox was a combination of BBC and ITV stuff where they combined forces to show a lot of their backlog, although recently BBC have pulled out of that. So it's basically just an extension of ITVX. So I'm going to have to put it side by side with that. And now the next one, Troma Now. Now, this is probably the most obscure one on my list here, where Troma Entertainment, being one of the, I believe it's the longest running independent film company in the world. They mainly make schlocky horror exploitation stuff, and their streaming site, Troma Now, is a place just for films like that. And you know what, I would say this is my guilty pleasure if I felt bad about liking the things that I like. Never let anyone make you feel bad for liking the things that you like. Life is too short to worry about what other people think of you. But yeah, with all the other streamers focusing on the big brands and the polished productions and spending millions upon millions and the whole GDP of a small country on a movie, it's refreshing to see a streaming service focus on the more micro budget, the more independent stuff. And when I say micro, we're talking less than 10,000, which could mean anything, even at that scale. It's nice, charming, and endearing, and you know what? I absolutely love it. And another thing, it's the cheapest per month out of all of these. $4.99, which is in pounds is about £3.71. At least when I looked it up. Knowing the current economic climate in America at the moment, it could be different. But they also sent an email a week before my month free trial ended, saying, it's about to end, are you sure you want to stay with us? And you know what, I actually like that. I actually really like that, because a lot of these others wouldn't have said anything. They would just be wait, and then thank you, and then take your money from your account. You're like, oh wait, no, I forgot about this. What's going on? Troma Now didn't, and I actually appreciated that. I read that, thought, oh, I've never got this type of email before, so you know what, fair play to you. I'm going to have to put you into A tier, because, shine a light for independent creators, finding an audience they wouldn't have otherwise, and sticking up for the little guy. I love it. Next up, Shudder. Now, depending where you live, this might be packed together with some AMC stuff, because it's technically owned by AMC. But here it's done as a separate thing. It's focused on horror. So if you're not into horror, obviously it's not going to appeal to you. But I like the odd horror here and now, especially the more independent or off the beaten track horrors. And you know what, Shudder has quite a few of those. It's got some mainstream ones, but if you want to find something a bit different, Shudder has a lot of things on there. It's also quite cheap compared to the other ones, for £4.99 for a month. I just got my notes here. What is it, Netflix $12.99, Disney $8.99, Now TV $13.99? No, Now TV, actually, because of that, moving down to D tier. Don't be so expensive. So yeah, the actual appeal is quite limited, but the price I feel does reflect that, and I do like it. I like the service it provides. So you know what? I'm gonna put you into A tier. And last of all, we have Mubi. Now Mubi is more of the think of the films that go on to film festivals and try to go for some awards and that. And I'm not saying that as a derogatory or a pejorative against Mubi. No, not at all. When I was a student, I had a really, really reduced subscription for Mubi, and you know what? I really, really enjoyed it. I've loved seeing the different films from all these different places, and oh, okay, yeah, that's an interesting take there. There's a film from Chile, you watch that, and then there's a film from, I don't know, Malaysia. Some downsides, I'd say, is that it adds a film a day, but then it takes the oldest one off, so there's a constant rotating of films. I don't know what it's like now, actually, because I'll be honest, it's been a few years since my subscription ended, but I found that with its method a bit limiting. That being said, again, it's given an audience to films that wouldn't necessarily have its audience before. It does have a niche audience, and it really knows how to capitalise on that. In fact, it's worth saying that the recently released The Substance was, I believe, produced at least in part by Mubi. So it's not just like a curation platform. They do go off and make stuff as well. So yeah, I do enjoy Mubi and I do respect it. They don't have an ads-only one, so that means it's no longer capped at a C. Although I can't really put it on the same level because of its limited appeal and not as many titles, and the price is a bit higher as well. So I'm going to have to put Mubi in B tier. So there you have it. Here is my view of the best to worst streaming platforms based on tiers. And you know what? I didn't think it would look quite like this, but looking at it, it makes a lot of sense. But hey, what do you think? Am I on the money, or do you think I'm completely way off and barking on the wrong tree? Please let me know down below. And thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you doing so. And yeah, if you like what you see, please subscribe, and we'll see you later.